Hello, chess family. It's me, National Master Jesse James, and today we're going over the first of hopefully many game reviews for our channel subscribers. Now, this is a extra thing we're offering here. It's our second tier. For this, you are going to be getting to play games with me online, which is 3 days of move on chess.com, but also game reviews and much more. So in this game we're going to be taking a look at is one of our members, Bill Putnam, the General as I like to call him, one of my longtime friends and also a member of the channel now. And well, we're going to be seeing him play a very nice Jobava London. This is mostly a boasting game. You're more than welcome to send in games to boast, or if you want to learn something, I'm more than happy to go over a loss, which will be hopefully more beneficial in the future. With that being said, let's go ahead and get on to this game. This is a very nice game played by Bill. This is played over in Washington, D.C., part of the D.C. League. And, well, this was a team sport, and this is game 90, meaning 90 minutes each person, with 30-second increment, meaning that they add 30 seconds each move that gets made. This game is very one-sided, so let's go ahead and get into it. Here we go. We start up with d4, knight f6, knight c3, pawn to d5, bishop to f4, and hopefully you guys know this is the Jobava London. Here one of the main ideas is to put pressure on this c7 pawn. And already with these two pieces out already, we can see that c7 is already becoming a target. Here black goes ahead and plays normally with pawn to e6. And well, Bill knows what to play. Here he goes knight b5, putting pressure on c7 right away. Now, I've dealt with this as the black side because I played many games against Danya and also Bortnik, and apparently they wrote a book on this, which Bill has gone over, and you can definitely see, as we're going to see some nice themes in this opening. So one of the ideas here is putting pressure on c7, and there's two different ways to try and defend c7, although both are really not impressing too much. In the game, knight a6 got played, but bishop d6 is also another way to play. Although I won't really recommend this move either because, well, after knight takes, pawn takes, black does get these weird kind of pawn structure or double pawns here. And, well, white just gets the bishop pair, so they have a good position. With that being said, I can't really recommend the other move, which is what black played here, which was knight to a6. A knight on the rim is grim, and although the knight does come out and defend the pawn, this knight is just poorly placed. As we're going to see, this is going to be the losing strategic idea for the game. So, after this move of knight to a6, here Bill just continues with development. Pawn to e3, letting out the bishop, getting ready to castle. Pawn c6 gets played, a very common move, trying to kick the knight away because, well, if you don't, the knight will just stay there forever. Knight goes back to c3, and here is the mistake black makes. I've made this a few times and gotten to terrible positions against these guys. Bishop to e7 got played, and now it is white to move. What do you play here? Here's simple chess. We're going to go ahead and create a weakness and bring out a piece. Bishop takes on a6 here. A very nice idea, which, well, is going to give some bad double pawns. And also this c pawn, which is auspiciously easy to attack. And we're going to be putting lots of pressure on this guy over here. But again, black doesn't realize this. Black thinks they have a good position. They have the bishop pair here. They're getting ready to castle. They're assuming c5 will get played in the future, so they did not play the best here. One of the best ways to play here for black is going to be trying to play a5, bishop a6, so at least this bishop finds a nice diagonal. Well, let's get to work. Let's keep developing our pieces. Bill keeps up with knight f3. He has beautiful development over here. Black goes ahead and castles, and here, well, knight e5 gets played. A very nice idea, just putting pressure on the pawn. Now, even if you do try to play c5 here, well, this is not going to be the best either because maybe we'll play knight c6 and win back the bishop pair and just have a very good structure, and hopefully we'll play for good knight versus bad bishop. So black went ahead and tried to defend the c6 pawn by playing queen to b6. Unfortunately, this goes into a major theme of the game, which again, control this c5 square. If this pawn cannot move forward, well, it's going to be a backwards pawn, a target, but also it's going to limit the scope of this bishop. And as we will see, I'm not sure if this is a bishop or a pawn in this game. So Bill knows this idea. He's read the book. He goes ahead and plays knight to a4, a very nice move. Not only does it attack the queen, but again, it's controlling the c5 square. Black plays a typical move here, queen a5 check. And although this looks like a good move because it's attacking the king and also the knight, this actually plays into Bill's hand. Pawn to c3. What's the idea? Well, not only does it defend your knight, but it's also getting ready to play pawn b4, which will attack the queen and again bind on the c5. If the pawn can't move forward, this bishop is just going to be terrible. This is a very, very nice game here by Bill. Definitely a strategic masterpiece. Here we go. It was black to move. Bishop b7 got played. Definitely a question mark on this move. it's really hard to say what to play here. The rook going to b8 is also very bad here because, well, the bishop has ideas about attacking, and knight takes c6 is again an idea to attack and fork the square. So probably best here for black is maybe playing bishop d7 with the idea of bishop e8, and that is a very hard maneuver to chew. The idea of this is to try and play knight d7 in the future and play f6 to kick the knight. Very long idea. This is probably black's best way to play here. With that being said, well, black goes ahead and plays the bishop to b7, hoping for one day that he'll play c5. Bill knows this idea is not going to let him. Here, what does Bill play? I like this move. We're just going to go ahead and castle. Now, you're more than welcome to go ahead and play pawn to b4 here first. But after that, maybe queen b5 gets played, and this can delay castling. There's no need to go into these kind of variations. First things first, before you start your middle game planning, go ahead and finish your opening. Here, castles gets played, and, well, there's no way to stop c5 from being played anyway, so, yeah, let's just go ahead and keep it going. Oh, I do want to mention here, if it was black to move and they tried to play c5, this would actually just be a mistake. Here's a few moves to play. I personally like d takes c5 here with the idea of pawn to b4. And, yeah, obviously the bishop can't take back. b4 just gets played here. So why would just have an extra pawn? Although, funny enough, the computer still likes this move because even after d takes c5, the whole idea was just to try and open up the bishop. Maybe even d4 will get played because, as we'll see in this game again, this bishop is just terrible. After this, black goes ahead and tries to prepare c5, even though it's impossible, with rook a c8. If anything, use your other rook f to c8. I believe Bill's opponent here was rated around 1600. So, well, finding the right square for your rooks can be a bit troublesome. But, well, this rook right here, black should be trying to put pressure on the queen side and also give luff to the king. As we'll see later on, this is again going to be a bad idea for black. Their king side's going to get fatally weak. So, wrong rook goes to c8 over here. Bill just keeps up with the work. Where is the best way to play in this game? Should Bill be going king side? Should he be going for the center? Should he go queen side? Right now we have a very nice initiative just by going queen side. Look for free tempos, and here he takes full advantage of it. Let's attack this queen. Pawn b4 got played. Queen goes over to b5. There really is no good other squares. And here we go, knight to c5. Here this knight is just dominant, putting pressure on the bishop and also just controlling lots of good squares in the opponent's camp. Black is more than welcome to take here as well. Whenever you're attacking your opponent, you need open files and diagonals. B takes c5 will get played with the idea of rook sliding over here, and you can see here that there's going to be a nice penetration or an open file for this rook. So, bishop a8 got played. I mean, after knight c5, bishop a8, I'm not sure if black was worried that this knight was going to take. I will tell you this would not be the best. This knight is so much better than this bishop. I would not be dreaming of it. Maybe he just didn't like the idea of having the queen to defend. I'm not too sure. Bishop a8 got played. Again, rook b8 ideas are still very hard in this kind of position because, well, the bishop is eyeing over here. All right, Bill keeps up with the queen side expansion. Pawn to a4 attacking the queen. And here, there really is no good move here for black. Black plays queen b6. And here it was white to move, and I am curious if Bill did this on purpose or maybe he just missed it, but it's white to move. What do you play here to win some material? All right, it's white to move. And here, the simple move to play, which was not played, is knight e to d7. Now, here I do not mind not taking the exchange. As we'll see, Bill actually forgoes this later on anyways. But this was a way to win some material, as it's just a simple forking the queen and the rook. Of course, knight takes, we'll take the exchange. I do not think this is a big deal, as we will see. These knights are just so dominant that these rooks really aren't worth the full 5 points here. I would say they're probably worth maybe 3 points, but these knights are definitely worth about 4 or 5 points each. So not trading off is definitely not a wrong idea. With that being said, would I not do the fork? I would definitely do the fork here. A material advantage is a material advantage, so I would definitely have done that myself. But I understand people that would not do it. Instead, Bill goes ahead and plays bishop over to g5, and, well, just putting pressure on the knight, and maybe the idea was to play knight to d7 here too. Here, rook e8 gets played. Black says, I'm not going to fall for this trick. And, well, here he comes. Queen to f3, developing the queen and also putting pressure on the king side. He's already won the queen side. The center is closed, so here he embarks on controlling the last portion of the board, which is the king side. As we're going to see here, black makes a very bad mistake and plays bishop takes on c5. This is all but what Bill wanted here. Again, to attack your opponent, you need open files and diagonals. Bill was still trying to actually get into his opponent's position. But it wasn't so clear how that was going to happen. Now it's clear. B takes on c5 gets played, attacking the queen, but also opening up the rook to come down the b file. The other bad thing about this is, well, now the bishop is putting pressure on the knight. Remember, he got rid of his dark square bishop, so now there's lots of kingside attacking potential here because he lost his dark square bishop. Well, the only way to not lose a pawn here was to play queen to d8, but this puts him into a pin. And what do you do with pins, kids? Well, that's pretty simple. You go ahead and put pressure on them. So let's add more pieces. And Bill does just that. Knight to g4 here, putting pressure on the knight. Here, there is no good way to not lose a pawn, but even beyond losing a pawn is the kingside weakness we are about to make. Here, black goes ahead and notices that, well, there's no good way to not save the pawn, and so he's trying to escape with his king, so he plays king f8. Now, here is your question. In this position, is it going to be beneficial to keep your bishop or knight? This can be a hard one for some people because, well, the rule is queens and knights are very good for attacking, so they typically go together. With that being said, this position requires something a little bit more. This is about the weak dark squares that's going to be around the king. So believe it or not, we're going to keep our bishop. And Bill does the right decision. Knight takes, pawn takes, bishop takes. And here, now there is checkmate threats. In fact, there really is nothing good here for black to play. Black is more than welcome to resign here. As you can see up on the side, it's saying it's a +6 advantage, meaning white is basically up a rook and a pawn here. And if they don't play careful, they can definitely get checkmated very fast. The idea is very simple. If the queen is able to get to g7, it's game over. Because of that, the best move here for black is to play rook e7. Everything else is just going to be much worse. If the queen tries to jump over to, I don't know, let's say c7, here queen g4 or h5 is good. And again, black's best idea is just to play rook e7. Because if he doesn't, and I don't know, play something like rook e8, he's just going to get checkmated. g7 check, king e8. Queen f7 check, king d7, and queen takes on f7. Even if the queen goes to a5, it's still the same story. So here, black goes ahead and plays rook over to e7. And here, I'm very impressed with Bill. I think a lot of people would just take the material advantage, but Bill has something bigger on his mind, and that is checkmate. So instead of just grabbing the material right away, he shows great restraint and starts strengthening his position. Besides, it's not like this guy's going anywhere. This pin is going to be here for a while. What does Bill play here? Well, look. Another strategy you can do in these kind of positions where you are good, but you want to improve them, look for your worst placed piece and improve them. In this case, I definitely would say it's the F rook. Where does the rook go? Rook's like open files. Let's get to it. Rook F to B1. And here we're going to see a very easy but strong idea. Let's just double the rooks. And here there's really no way to stop the penetration. Here we go. King E8 got played. The king was scared of the queen coming in over here. And Bill just keeps building up nicely here. Rook B4. A5, a little annoying move, but not such a big deal. Rook over to B3, Queen C7, double up over here, Rook A to B1, complete control on the B file, King over to D7, and here a very nice move, Bishop E5. Here Bill has spotted that he can actually put very good pressure down the B file, and this again, this rook is not doing too much here. In fact, if you play correctly here, you should be able to win this queen. Here the queen really has only one square to move to. Queen back to d8, and here rook b8 got played. And I mean, if you weren't sad enough about the bishop, the queen is also just very terrible. The rook is very terrible. The only good piece here was this rook, kind of, and well, Bill's going to be trading it off pretty soon here. Black tries to get the queen to the game, queen g8, maybe ideas about bringing the queen to g6 or something, but Bill says, not today. Rook takes on c8, and there is no good way to capture this rook back. If you try to play king takes c8, well, rook b8 check is just going to go ahead and skewer. So, well, black went ahead and played queen takes c8, and now it's white to move. What do you play here to win the queen? Simple chess here. It's just rook to b8. When you put your pieces in good positions, tactics will flow. And rook b8 here, the queen is literally trapped. The rook is terrible. The bishop's terrible. This game is just over. There's nothing better. Queen takes on b8. Bishop takes over here. King goes back to attack the bishop. At this point, really, it's just a matter of technique of how you're going to win the game. And Bill does a good job doing that. Bishop back to d6. Rook over to b7. Here, hopefully, Bill sees the back rank checkmate idea. Whew, thank God he did. Pawn to h3 gets played. And, well, the easy ideas here for Bill is either going to be trying to win material or try to go for checkmate. Unfortunately for Bill, I don't think there's enough checkmating chances here because black's pieces are decently placed as far as defense, and well, we're just gonna have to win this a little bit slow. Rook b1 check, king over to h2, pawn to f5, the only way to try and stop the winning of the pawn. He's more than welcome to play rook back to b7, but then the bishop literally has nowhere to go, and he might get checkmated at that point. So the queen just needs to get into the position. Queen g3, king over to b7, queen g7 check, king a6. Again, surprisingly, this king is actually pretty safe, and the bishop is on the light square, so it can help defend. So Bill makes the right choice here and just goes pawn grabbing. After you win your pawn, though, the real idea is just to get a pawn across the board and make a new queen. Rook over to a1, attacking the pawn. Queen takes, rook takes, queen takes. It's less about winning the pawn, but more about making a pass pawn, the f pawn. Rook over to a3, no pawn left behind, queen to d3 check. King over to b7, queen check, king to a6, queen b2. Now the rook is getting checkmated or getting trapped over here. Here rook a4 gets played. It's the only square it can move to. And now what do? Well, simple endgame strategy. Pass pawns must be pushed. Let's do it. f4, bishop b7, f5, rook to c4. Here the rook moves out the way for the final chance of pushing the pawn forward, although you still need control over this dark square, so it's not going to really work. f6, a4, and after f7 here, black saw the writing on the wall and went ahead and resigned. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. This was a very nice members game review here from Bill Putnam, winning with a very nice Jobava London. Just remember this very nice strategic idea that is given to us by Bortnick and also Daniel over here, which is basically if they do go into these knight a6 variations, just remember about taking this knight with the bishop. So after, if your opponent's not paying attention, play bishop e7, bishop takes over here, and here you should get a very nice bind on the queen side. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed this. We'll see you in the next video.